I just bought myself the Subaru WRX, but there's a catch. This car had an engine bearing knock, which means that it was cheap and nobody wanted to touch this nightmare. Now we have no idea how extensive this damage is, whether it's a spun bearing or whether the block is toast, but sometimes taking a risk can really pay off. First things first, we had to remove the bumper. Next up was the headlights. Undo this, there's a screw already missing here. Undo that, and just undo one clip here. Now we're taking out the headlights. There's another one here in the front. Almost lost that bolt. The headlights were really easy to take out. Hats off to the Subaru Japanese team. Next headlight coming out. And the entire front end is stripped. No headlights, no bumper, no grille. And I didn't know it yet, but this Subaru was about to face challenges it's never seen before. Things no one could have prepared for. And for me, it was the first of many. Maybe these holes, they put the whole EJ from that side. Yeah, they don't know the heads. This is not original heads.
Yes. Oh boy.
What are we gonna do now?
Yeah, so where's all this plugs? Don't bring it here. Must be. The thing is
Doesn't have original heads.
no.
Well, plan A bust.
Where's the vacuum pump and all that they were talking
The air pump is gone. The air pump is broken. Now what's wrong? We can see these are not the original heads at all. These are import heads, which means that these are rubbish heads, because you can see that there's no wiring harness leading to them. So these heads do not come with the vehicle at all. I really need a source of heads for this thing. So we have to pull out the radiator to make space, because this engine is definitely going to come out 110% going to come out. So currently I'm going to pull this radiator hose out so we can drain the coolant. We've got hoses here that fits onto the what's that? I think this is a coolant reservoir. After discovering the heads weren't original and completely unusable, I knew sourcing proper replacements was going to be a problem, maybe even impossible. Still, I had to keep moving, so I started to drain the coolant to get the radiator out. Radiator out! Next, I moved on to removing the airbag. I had to twist, turn and maneuver it in every direction just to get it free, eventually until it came out. So let me show you what disgusting things are in auction cars. Normally you find good things. Check how massive this boot is. Look at you. Oil in the... I don't think the wheel spanner goes with it. Still clean. I feel like someone connected a sound here to this cable. You can put on like a 10-inch, 12-inch sub. That'll sound tops. After that, I had to remove the aircon condenser. A few bolts later and it was out. It was time to drain the oil, and I was expecting to see clear signs of bearing damage. With the kind of knocking that I heard, I thought I'd find metal flakes or at least some bearing material in the oil. But to my surprise, there was nothing. Just a slight shimmer, barely noticeable, definitely not enough to match the sound that this engine was making. This oil is looking black, like there's been some overfueling, which could only mean one thing. Someone tuned this vehicle and cleaned it out before I can even get to it. I'm gonna break the engine mounting because the engine must come out. No, it's not looking like a Subaru. Headlights out, radiator condenser out. Now you can actually see what is happening. But what we did find out is that these heads are not for this vehicle. It's not OEM. So this guy's probably blew a head gasket and had these. And that's why buying an auction car is dangerous. And this is terrible. But let's see if we can source parts. It's very difficult to get parts. Maybe you can make some contacts and let's see what we can do. So we're just gonna undo the wiring harness so the entire loom comes out with the engine. I just need to see what else needs to be disconnected, and then I'm going to, maybe the intercooler can come out And yeah. Next up, I had to take out the intercooler. One side connects straight to the turbo and the other side clamps down to the intake, which gave me a ton of space to get this engine ready to come out. That's one intercooler out. It's currently the next morning, currently 6 a.m. Cold out here. We didn't get to pull out the engine last night as it went a bit too late, but here's an early morning. Now, when pulling an engine, there's certain things that needs to be disconnected. We need to take out firstly separate the gearbox from the engine. So that means unscrewing or unbolting the bell housing bolts to take out the gearbox from the engine. Disconnect the power steering reservoir. We need to disconnect the exhaust hangers, which is there. You also have to disconnect the starter from the flywheel. Now this fluid is looking milky. Yeah, it looks red. Red is the normal color. Normally for power steering fluid they use ATF fluid, but it's just got a slight milkiness in it. But you can even see these guys fiddle so much. They even use cheap gaskets because you can even see. Now what I'm gonna do now to prevent this mess from continuously dripping, just gonna plug the hole with some cloth. Now you can see this is absolutely milky. If you look at this is even milky. This looks like mud. I don't know what they were trying to do here. This is what happens when you don't change your fluids. The high spanners didn't work. The 0 degree spanners didn't work. Let's see if this short ratchet. One shot. Don't drop the nut, don't drop the nut. Yes. Always remember when working underneath cars, rams, these are man-made stuff, so rams can fail, and it's advisable always to put a secondary plan in place in case something fails, which I'm praying it doesn't. So I did take off from the top. I could see the starter cable, power cable, starter power cable, so I took that out. Now I'm left with the ground cable, one mounting bolt, that'll be out. Exhaust is already unbolted. I just need to lever that out. Let's get it. So that's one starter out. So how does this work? This mates with the flywheel. When given power, it spins the flywheel so that it's easy to start. That's why it's called a starter. Hey, this is the original starter. So what we out is the bell housing bolts. Bell housing bolts unmate the gearbox from the engine. So I just came here to take out the bell housing bolts. I don't know if you can see that. There's one that is missing on the top there. I can't even get the bolts straight, nuts and bolts straight. I moved on to the remaining bell housing bolts, and once those were out, the engine and gearbox were officially uncoupled. Now we're gonna undo the exhaust hanger bolt so that we can take the downpipe out. Now that the mountings are out, I'm just gonna disconnect the connector for the oxygen sensor. Okay, out. Okay, let's see if we can pull this thing. Something like that. That's one downpipe out. There was a seal that fell out. I didn't even know we had this. I think it's a seal, so you don't have any exhaust leaks. 2 hose clamps out. That's for the heater cores. That's what makes hot and cold within your cabin. I removed the alternator plug, the aircon compressor plug, the wiring harness and the fuel lines. With everything out of the way, we hooked up the engine crane, thinking that we are finally ready to pull this motor out. But what we did not know was that disaster was about to strike.
Imagine we were taking it out and it happened.
And it fell.
Somebody would have got hurt very badly.
And we took the whole thing forward.
Broke everything. It was broke everything.
The mounting point we were using to lift the engine was way too weak, and we didn't realize how much strain it was under until it nearly gave away. So we stopped, stepped back and came up with a better plan. We reshuffled everything and found out a much stronger mounting point. And with everything secured properly now, we finally managed to get the engine out safely. We just got the engine out. This thing is a headache. If you blow a head gasket, engine must come out again. To change spark plugs, there's no space on the side here. Now we're going to remove the spark plugs to show you how you change spark plugs. Spark plug on the side. This is one head, 2 pistons. This is another 2 pistons. Coils are out. Spark plug looks not too bad. Looks decent. This one also looks decent. Not too bad. It's looking too clean, this one. For a bearing knock, these guys cleaned the inside there. Aye. Today is another day, and we got this big bad wolf to be stripping to see exactly what is wrong with it. The crankcase has to actually split in half, so need to remove the alternator, power steering pulley, power steering pump, aircon condenser, intake manifold. I think also the turbocharger will come out, a flywheel pressure plate, all of that good stuff will come out so that we can access the response if we need to do that. I did see a second way where I can split the crankcase and then crack the bolts on the end caps of the big end bearings, big end caps. So we can do that, or we can fiddle with the circlips and rispons. The first belt is wrapping around the alternator, power steering pump, and then the crank. And the aircon compressor is in the back. First belt comes out first. And that's one Subaru alternator out. So I need to move our aircon compressor. So that'll be maybe 1 bolt there, 1 bolt there, 1 bolt there. Hopefully this belt will loosen. Then I can take that out. So my next option, because maybe this belt is under tension, I'm going to try and remove this pulley. I already got my socket ready. Maybe the belt will be loose, then there will be less tension on the aircon compressor to take out. And that's one aircon compressor out. This one stupid 10mm bolt was holding it in place. Well, blocking the last bolt from being in place. Anyway. Now that's out, we can move on to removing, and I just lost a bolt. A few love taps and the crank pulley is out. Okay. Nice. We're getting there. Slowly but surely.
With the engine out, I moved straight into tear down mode. In the space of about 30 minutes, we removed the cooler reservoir, intake, turbo, timing covers, exhaust manifold, pulleys, timing components, and the oil pump bolts. At this point, everything was coming apart very fast, and I was getting closer to finding out what actually went wrong inside this engine.
What are we calling these guys?
These are butcher.
Okay, tap the thing a little bit more. Pull up. Out.
The thing is, this my idea is not working yet. Let's try this side here.
Yeah. Oh, so easy. Because they open for us. They knew we were gonna come.
I got power. Look this man. Because Mina's corner the power. Now you say no, it's loose. You see.
They making loose for him, Steven.
You tell you this one is loose. Yeah, you see. Hey, this boy, I tell you, hey, Steve. Kona machalas.
Why do you unthread your hand?
I'm trying. Now you put it.
Yeah, let's jam it coming up. So if you turn here and I'll hold it.
Now I'm gonna open.
Yeah, turn that thing. You're gonna turn this way, so the lobe is gonna come there, and I'm gonna put this there.
Okay, let's see if it works.
I don't know. Only one way to know.
Tell me.
Right?
You're holding.
Yeah. Go. Watch my face. Don't swing this.
Okay.
See, I told you. Use a hand.
You see? Corner of press.
Come on. See there. Easy. Out.
See this light here. This light here, I tell you, hey, this light here, you tell me that corner of brains, where who could be the brains?
Where you leave it?
Easy, you tell it easy.
Next, I removed the cam bridge, the exhaust and intake cams, the head bolts, and finally the right hand side head, which came off pretty easily. Piece by piece, this engine was starting to really open up.
Cylinder head out. Next we're going to take the next side out. These Bush mechanics, they put a rivet here, so you need to drill that out, open these pulleys, take the cover out, take the cams out, then the entire head bolts come out. Let's get it. Into another issue. These Bush mechanics stripped 2 10s, which is a nightmare to flip and take out. Stripped. Make my job harder.
The exact same procedure was repeated on the left hand head. Cam bridge came off, intake and exhaust cams were removed, head bolts out, and then the head came off. With both heads off, there was only one thing left to do, and that was split the crankcase and see the catastrophic damage.
Heads are out. Next, we're gonna need to split this block in half. And now is 10:30 p.m. and myself and my best man, my right hand man Steven, is working till late, trying to get this back together and see what actually was the damage. So the clutch, pressure plate and flywheel assembly, clutch assembly. I think on the clutch it had full hot spots on it, so these guys were probably dumping the clutch and moving like that. But I need a new clutch for that place.
I removed the oil pump, the water pump, and then started cracking open the crankcase bolts.
Second cylinder.
Yeah. Second, this is, what's that?
This is 3. There's 1, 2, 3, 4.
What we're doing now is heads are out, water pump, oil pump is all out. Next we're going to try and open a crankcase. Now I know I just researched on YouTube that there's 2 ways of opening up the crankcase. It's either using the wrist pins, you can use the wrist pins, opening up the wrist pins, or you can use the splitting the crank open using the internal, opening the internal and external bolts, and then trying to crack open the big end bearings. Now it's going to be slightly hard to put a ratchet in there, which is why we must, I think, use a spanner. I saw the guys using a spanner. Hopefully you got enough leverage for that. But there's a chair placed, ready to crack open. I think I did miss something. I think I'm supposed to take out that plate there, otherwise it's not going to split in half. I don't think I need that. Do I need that? No. Where's that for?
This one is for inside the top.
Yeah, and then the long one is for?
The long one is
for the
inside,
side, the
inside.
side. And this one here?
Okay.
So long one for the middle. And the last one is for? Thin one. It's for the bottom.
Right.
Okay. Case bolts out.
At this point, it felt like the crankcase was welded shut. No matter how much I tried to pry or pull, it just wouldn't give in. Even after removing all the crankcase bolts, I thought it would be a piece of cake. But I was wrong. The sealant was like concrete. I had to carefully lever it little by little just so that I can crack it open. And even then, getting leverage to break open the rod bolts from the side I was working on was a mission. But eventually, after a serious battle, I got it open.
This thing is in the back.
That's one crankshaft out. So this was, what was damaged was cylinder 4, cylinder 2. So this is the front of the crankshaft. That's the rear main seal. So this is a big rod 1, rod 2, rod 3, rod 4. So these are your main bearings, where your main bearings go over. So as you can see over here, full ridges. I don't know if you can see that. Absolutely full ridges. Just try to see and check it. But there's absolutely full ridges. Upon opening this thing, there was no bearing at all on rod 2. So as you can see there's bits here. See these bits of the bearings. That's the big end bearings that were gone. That's, somebody was absolutely hammering this thing. It's actually supposed to look shiny, like, see in between here. No grooves, no ridges, but yeah. So as soon as you see copper on the ridges, that means you know the bearings are gone. It must look silky smooth. This is big end cap 3. You can see the copper there. Big end cap 2. This was a clunk noise that you heard earlier. There was absolutely no bearing at all. So we need to look for crankshafts and rods and everything else. Let's see what we can do here. Let's see if we can get the piston out. Should pop out like that. You just push it down. Let's turn it on the side. We can get it out. I don't know what this disgusting dirt was. Oil filter at the bottom. So this is piston 1. Push. Push. There you go. And that's one piston out. Piston number 1 out. That's piston 3 out. Now with pistons, you get a dome shaped, which it looks like this, and you get a shallow piston. Shallow pistons are normally for turbocharged applications, and dome pistons are for naturally aspirated car, that is without a turbo. Okay, last one. Let's take out the end cap here. I think this is cylinder 4. Now you're should slide out very easily like that. Piston 4. That's piston 2. And conrod 2. So we might have a plan, and we just managed to find some parts. I just need to make a proper list of everything that I need so we can get this thing up and running. Express my thoughts about what we need, but this engine is f***ed. It's buggered. We need a new crank. We can grind the crank down. It's not 100%. From the Hilux build, you can see we like to do things 100%. It's absolutely buggered. Need a new crank, oil pump, one rod. Rod is not so badly damaged, but it probably spun on the rod since there was no bearing there. What else we need? Head gaskets, seals. We need complete heads. See, because Jesus changed the heads, that made it extremely difficult for us. Because we thought we can get the import engine and cut the internals and put the internals here. But obviously that's not going to work. So we need complete heads. We need a crank. We need one rod. We need piston set rings. I never priced that as well. That's a lot already.
Also gonna try and upgrade the bearings, put King aftermarket bearings, King bearings for the main big end caps and main bearings. So last night we came back pretty late looking for parts for the Subaru. We went to see somebody and we managed to get some parts, and we managed to get OEM heads. There's some two OEM heads, both sides, and yeah, let me show you what other little goodies we got. Got some gaskets, two, because Subaru wanted to be different. Got some main bearings, King main bearings, which will definitely increase the longevity of this engine. Then we got big end bearings. Our engine was missing an EGR system, so we got one of the other modules. It was missing the air pump, which that was the first thing I noticed when I watched one video on YouTube. It was missing the air pump, a rear main seal, front main seal, one con rod, valve stem seals. Then we got OEM oil pump. There's an OEM oil pump from Subaru, and the big one of them all, managed to get a new gen crankshaft. This is a little bit heavy. A brand new Subaru crankshaft. Let me show you guys. Right, are you ready for an unboxing of the crankshaft? New crankshaft. I feel like one of those tech YouTubers like Marcus Brownlee or like Mr. Who's the Boss when it comes to car parts, unboxing car parts. It's just like another feeling. Let's go. So this is the box it comes in. It comes with styrofoam on the left and right hand side. Okay, I know you're not worried about that. So this is more harder than expected. Don't know what's it. Brand new crankshaft. So you can see the black counterweights. That's different. But if you look closely, so 1, 2, 3. This counterweight is 1. This one, the first counterweight from the rear main seal, is way thicker than this one. Either this one was grinded or something, but it's not looking even. If you can see, that's straight, but it's coming cockeyed. This is journals are fresh, lobes are fresh, like the main journals all fresh. So grind the crank and use it, but how long would it last? That's a $1 million question. But yeah, new crank. Let's go. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove all the hanging parts for the heads so that we can send this off to the engineers so that they can overhaul the heads and so that they can replace the valve stem seals. These are heads that look a little bit ashy. Move out this bracket. Oh yeah, that's all. There's actually not much to take out. You see this? Maybe these hoses here on the bottom. And then we're operating. Oil filler tube coming out. Just the 2 10s. Actually 3 10s. I didn't see this bracket on my heads, which definitely they botched. Anyways, for those of you who do not know what valve stem seals are, it's a little bit, it's a normal like a washer type bucket thing that sits between the valve. It's called valve stem seal, so it seals the valves from the oil gallery so that no oil comes into the combustion chamber. Oil in the combustion chamber, when it mixes, start burning smoke, and you have endless issues. So I just wrapped the heads off, ready to send to the engineers. Hopefully we get that back soon. Next, I'm going to tackle now. I need to clean the top of the head of the pistons. So remember, when you ever cleaning something, because these pistons are going back into each cylinder, the same cylinder, we're not replacing the pistons. You must maintain the same piston from the same cylinder. So for example, like I know when I lift it up chair, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So how are we gonna make sure that we do not forget where each one went? We're gonna clean one at a time. So that means taking out these rings,
So the compression rings, the oil ring, the scraper rings, taking out the circlip. There's a circlip there, both circlips, knocking out this wrist spin, taking out the con rod, making sure the same con rod goes back with the same piston. And once that's done, we're going to clean it with some engine cleaner and spray it with compressed air. Now my main man Steven is going to clean the blocks, the pistons, all with engine cleaner. Then he's going to wash it, and if he does a bad job, you must tell him on the comments. Comment down below if he's doing a good job or bad job.
With everything stripped down and the block and parts ready to get cleaned up, this build is officially heading into the next stage. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. I'm bhanaHQ and I'll see you in the next one.